We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before that moment.
It makes no sense to me.
Let's face reality.
Well, we have to remember one thing. She's not Caitlin Clark.
If Angel Reese had never waved her hand in her face when LSU was beating Iowa, if that hadn't happened, Angel Reese's name might not be as big. Yes, she would have made the WNBA. But in terms of her popularity, it really soared after she took down Caitlin Clark. And then Caitlin Clark came back and got revenge by knocking LSU out.
Angel Reese is riding Caitlin Clark's coattails.
She's going to be attached to Caitlin Clark to some degree.
Stephen A. Smith just dropped a bombshell that's sending shockwaves through the sports world. Joy Taylor dared to compare Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark, claiming Clark's fame exists only because of Reese.
We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before Angel Reese walked up to her, did this, and pointed to the ring. This is not my opinion. I lived it. I watched it. It was recorded. It was broadcasted live. She just said.
But Stephen A. didn't hold back, obliterating her arguments and exposing the truth behind both players' popularity.
Even though she's not Caitlin Clark, she's going to be reminded she's not Caitlin Clark with every good thing that Caitlin Clark does.
If you think Caitlin Clark's achievements can be overshadowed, think again and wait until you hear the shocking revelations about Joy Taylor's credibility, or lack thereof.
Faraji claims that when she would go out to meet Taylor for dinner or drinks, Charlie Dixon was always around. And that is when she said that Taylor shushed her, explained what Dixon's position was in the company, and Faraji believed that they were sleeping together.
And none of this stuff surprises me because I have been in this industry for over 10 years, and unfortunately I've seen a lot of things like this.
This video will leave you questioning everything about the narrative Taylor tried to sell. Let's dive in. Joy Taylor's audacious claim that Caitlin Clark owes her fame to Angel Reese has ignited a firestorm of criticism, and rightly so.
Caitlin Clark, the reason I bring up Caitlin Clark is because they're attached at the hip with one another, which means they're ultimately going to be compared.
During a previous discussion, Taylor suggested that no one would have known Caitlin Clark's name if it weren't for Angel Reese's infamous ring gesture during the NCAA championship. This statement not only undermines Clark's extraordinary achievements, but also exposes a blatant bias that Stephen A. Smith didn't hesitate to dismantle.
And when you look at Caitlin Clark is balling. She's a Rookie of the Year. She was one of the finalists for the league MVP honors as a rookie, breaking all types of records. She should have been on Team USA. Her brand building has been incredibly impressive.
Let's set the record straight. Caitlin Clark's name was already lighting up the sports world long before Reese's theatrics. Clark wasn't just a rising star, she was a phenomenon in women's basketball.
Caitlin Clark has handled her branding extremely well. Whereas with Angel Reese, sometimes you find yourself scratching your head and wondering what the hell she's doing. Like that photo right there. But when you do that, you can't come down the line and complain about being objectified later on. It's not going to work.
From her jaw-dropping performances in college to her ability to hit logo threes with ease, Clark was captivating audiences nationwide. In fact, during the NCAA tournament, Clark's record-breaking 41-point game against South Carolina, a previously undefeated team, was the talk of the sports community.
And when you do stuff like that and you're drawing attention to yourself because of that, that can be problematic for you, especially when the comparison is going to be drawn to Caitlin Clark, who isn't doing such things.
That performance alone garnered millions of viewers, solidifying her status as a generational talent. By the time the championship game rolled around, Caitlin Clark was already the face of women's basketball.
And you certainly have the right to dress how you want and to do what you want and to live your life. But people have a right to have their opinions about what you put on display.
Stephen A. Smith wasted no time calling out Taylor's baseless remarks, highlighting the stark difference between the two players' paths to fame. As he put it, Caitlin Clark's popularity stems from her undeniable talent and unmatched skill set.
But I also want to encourage her to bring her Instagram platform back because that is her brand and she built that for the last X number of years and now she can use it as a platform to market herself. But you have to be cognizant that no matter how you step out of your house, you are now Angel Reese. If you're not ready for the heat, then you just got to be mindful that what comes with it.
What I'm saying is by pulling it down, clearly you felt there was something wrong with it.
She has broken countless records and was even a finalist for the league MVP in her rookie WNBA season. Her achievements, including including becoming Rookie of the Year, showcase her as a true athlete whose game speaks louder than any media narrative.
She is not dumb. She's quite a brilliant young lady. She is in this age where she does know social media exists, and she has exploited it to her advantage. That means you're mindful of the imagery and the perception that you're assisting in creating about yourself.
Angel Reese, on the other hand, gained most of her attention from a single moment: the ring gesture directed at Clark during LSU's victory over Iowa.
She was seen doing various interviews and what have you, talking about threats, talking about insults, crying about how people were coming at her with such venom and hostility, particularly in her last year at LSU. She brought up all of these things, which means she was aware of it. And if you're aware of it, you have to understand that that's going to be part of the judgment that comes against you, fair or unfair.
After the season, and when I was in my press conference and I was talking about being sexualized, like, I guess people thought that was like because I post pictures in my bathing suits. No, like, multiple occasions people have made AI pictures of me like naked.
She claimed to be sexualized. What is that? Drama. Total drama.
Have you ever noticed we never hear about the sexualization of Caitlin Clark? Why don't we see Caitlin Clark being sexualized? Because Caitlin Clark doesn't allow it.
While Reese is undoubtedly a skilled player, her fame skyrocketed not because of her on-court dominance, but due to that viral moment. Smith even pointed out the uncomfortable reality. While Clark commands respect for her skills, Reese often draws attention for her personality and off-court presence, such as her provocative social media posts, which have little to do with basketball.
It's not all about sharing everything. It's about actually keeping a lot of this stuff intimate and private. Personally, I wouldn't wear that because that's not the way I want to be represented.
She's literally held up an outline after getting waxed. Oh yes, please tell me how sexualized you are.
What makes Taylor's remarks even more troubling is the implication of racial bias. By attempting to downplay Clark's accomplishments and tying her fame to Reese, Taylor seems to be pushing a narrative rooted in identity rather than merit.
I'm not even talking about the outfit. I'm talking about overall pressure of having to be compared as a brand to somebody who's conducting their branding with near perfection.
As Stephen A. Smith rightfully noted, such comparisons only fuel unnecessary division and detract from the incredible talent both players bring to the game.
I don't want Nike turning her down because they don't see her as someone that's marketable, because
neither do I.
You know, and that's
But when it comes to raw talent, Caitlin Clark's resume speaks for itself, and no amount of biased commentary can erase that. Caitlin Clark's fame isn't borrowed, it's earned.
Whether directly or indirectly, there's always eyes on you. What they're paying attention to because they're trying to measure what your intentions are based off of what they see.
Joy Taylor's attempt to undermine Caitlin Clark's achievements becomes even more questionable when you consider her history and the controversies surrounding her career.
The way that she dresses invites unwanted sexual attention.
While Taylor presents herself as a credible voice in the sports world, recent revelations paint a very different picture.
She told Joy Taylor about Charlie getting a little frisky. Joy Taylor responded by saying, "Get over it." Mrs. Faraji also insinuated that Joy Taylor used her feminine powers to advance her career in the company.
Faraji claims that she had attended a birthday party for Taylor. When she goes to this birthday party, she says that Dixon was there. Mr. Dixon approached her and then placed his arm on Miss Faraji's lower back. But as she knew Miss Taylor was sleeping with Mr. Dixon, she turned to her. Miss Taylor responded to get over it and explained that she herself only had her job because of Mr. Dixon.
One that exposes her rise to fame as being rooted not in talent or expertise, but in exploitative tactics and scandals. Taylor has been at the center of a recent lawsuit filed by a former Fox Sports employee. According to the allegations, Taylor used her relationships and physical appearance to secure her position in the industry. The lawsuit claims that Taylor was involved in inappropriate relationships with powerful executives at Fox Sports, including Charlie Dixon, the vice president of content.
Faraji claims that Taylor continued to use her sexuality to advance at the Fox company. And she did that by allegedly sleeping with Emmanuel Acho, a former football player turned commentator.
Allegedly, Taylor leveraged these connections to land high-profile roles, including her spot as the moderator for Skip and Shannon. undisputed. These allegations suggest that her career advancements were less about her skill set and more about her willingness to exploit her personal relationships. The lawsuit also reveals that Taylor's approach was not limited to one individual. She allegedly used similar tactics with former NFL player-turned-commentator Emmanuel Acho, seeking to secure opportunities on his show, Speak for Yourself.
Miss Taylor asked Miss Faraji to meet her for lunch in Beverly Hills. She found Miss Taylor with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Miss Faraji didn't know Mr. Acho, but could tell that the two were romantically involved. Miss Taylor confirmed and explained that she wanted Mr. Acho to eventually recommend her on the show, Speak for Yourself. Miss Faraji became alarmed and warned Miss Taylor that she should probably not sleep with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Acho at the same time. Miss Taylor told her not to worry about it.
These accusations, if true, severely damage her credibility as a journalist and a commentator. It's worth noting that these aren't isolated claims. The lawsuit details a pattern of behavior where Taylor reportedly prioritized personal gain over professional integrity, even at the expense of others in the industry.
Nushin Faraji, who says she worked at Fox Sports from 2012 through last August, made a series of allegations in the 42-page lawsuit obtained by Front Office Sports. Fox, Fox Sports, FS1, FS2, Fox Sports EVP Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, and FS1 host Joy Taylor are listed as defendants in the lawsuit.
Stephen A. Smith's takedown of Taylor resonates even more deeply when you consider these allegations. How can someone who allegedly used inappropriate means to climb the ladder in sports broadcasting speak authoritatively about the merits and achievements of athletes like Caitlin Clark? Taylor's credibility crumbles when you contrast her history with the relentless work ethic and undeniable talent of someone like Clark.
The lawsuit says Ms. Faraji brings forth this action because for over a decade at Fox, she was forced to endure a misogynistic, racist, ableist workplace where executives and talent were allowed to physically and verbally abuse workers with impunity. When Ms. Faraji and others came forward to report the wrongdoing, instead of addressing their concerns, Fox retaliated against them while the perpetrators and those who protected them were inexplicably promoted. This case thus represents yet another in a long line of cases chronicling the toxic culture at Fox, marked by bad faith promises and repeated failures to address a poisonous and entrenched patriarchy.
The lawsuit also highlights Taylor's response to criticism and accountability. When confronted about her actions, she allegedly dismissed concerns, claiming that she had become too powerful to be affected by repercussions. This arrogance, coupled with the allegations of misconduct, casts a shadow over Taylor's ability to fairly and objectively discuss issues in sports. If anything, her remarks about Caitlin Clark reveal a desperate attempt to remain relevant in an industry that values authenticity and expertise, qualities Taylor seems to lack.
Former Fox Sports hairstylist alleges in a lawsuit that a network executive used his position to sexually harass women, as well as that Skip Bayless touched her inappropriately and propositioned her for sex.
Joy Taylor allegedly mispronounced the English pronunciation of Mrs. Faraji's name.
What's more, the lawsuit alleges that Taylor herself admitted to using her relationships to maintain her position at Fox Sports, reportedly stating that she would accuse certain individuals of harassment if they ever tried to oust her. This kind of manipulation not only raises ethical questions, but also explains why her commentary on Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese lacks substance and credibility. Rather than focusing on facts or the merits of the athletes she discusses, Taylor appears to be fueling narratives that align with her personal biases and agenda.
Faraji claims that when she would go out to meet Taylor for dinner or drinks, Charlie Dixon was always around. And that is when she said that Taylor shushed her, explained what Dixon's position was in the company, and Faraji believed that they were sleeping together.
And none of this stuff surprises me because I have been in this industry for over 10 years, and unfortunately I've seen a lot of things like this.
Miss Taylor asked Miss Faraji to meet her for lunch in Beverly Hills. She found Miss Taylor with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Miss Faraji didn't know Mr. Acho, but could tell that the two were romantically involved. Miss Taylor confirmed and explained that she wanted Mr. Acho to eventually recommend her on the show, Speak for Yourself. Miss Faraji became alarmed and warned Miss Taylor that she should probably not sleep with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Acho at the same time. Miss Taylor told her not to worry about it.
Joy Taylor's track record casts a long shadow over her controversial remarks about Caitlin Clark. It becomes clear that her opinions are not only rooted in bias, but are also tainted by a history of questionable actions. Her attempt to diminish Clark's achievements isn't just baseless, it's hypocritical. Coming from someone whose own career has been riddled with controversy and scandal, Caitlin Clark's rookie season in the WNBA was nothing short of revolutionary. Right out of the gate, she established herself as a force to be reckoned with, earning the title of Rookie of the Year and becoming a finalist for the league MVP.
That idiot Angel Reese is trying so hard to latch on to Caitlin Clark by being the heel and then crying about it. You all did this. You all called her a white bitch constantly. You all did this.
Her incredible performances shattered records, including scoring a career-high 35 points in a single game and surpassing Simone Augustus for the most points ever scored by a rookie in WNBA history. These achievements not only solidified her as a generational talent, but also proved that her skill set transcends hype and narrative.
Caitlin Clark is different from any other player we have ever seen in the women's game, and it starts with the distance with which she shoots the basketball. We've never seen a player shoot from that deep range with that kind of efficiency.
Her dominance on the court is complemented by her unique style of play. Known for her deep three-point shots, impeccable court vision, and clutch performances, Clark consistently dazzled fans and silenced critics. Each game, she carried her team with an unwavering determination, showcasing a level of basketball IQ and skill that even seasoned players aspire to. It's no wonder she was celebrated as one of the brightest stars in the league, with her performances drawing comparisons to legends in the sport.
Caitlin Clark has been the best thing, the most dominant thing to happen to the WNBA ever. Remember, there's been good players come out of college, but nobody really cared. We'd seen it. Nobody really cared.
Despite her success, Clark faced immense adversity throughout her rookie season. She became a frequent target for criticism and negativity, enduring everything from on-court aggression to racial threats and false accusations.
Now, another award that Caitlin Clark just won this week is the 2024 Sports Business Journal Best Sports Business Athlete, and that went to Caitlin Clark.
Opponents often resorted to physical play to rattle her composure, and the media sometimes amplified unwarranted controversies surrounding her. Yet Clark's response was nothing short of inspiring. She stayed focused, refusing to let the noise detract from her game or her character. What sets Caitlin Clark apart is not just her extraordinary talent, but her resilience and grace under pressure.
Clark is only the fourth women's basketball player to be honored as the Female Athlete of the Year since it was first presented in 1931, joining Cheryl Swoops, Rebecca Lobo, and Candace Parker. The impact and just success that she has had this year is insane.
While many sought to overshadow her achievements with unnecessary drama, Clark consistently proved that she belonged at the top through her actions on the court. Her rookie season wasn't just about breaking records, it was about breaking barriers and rising above the challenges that came her way. In doing so, she became a symbol of perseverance and excellence, inspiring countless fans and cementing her legacy as one of the most remarkable athletes of her generation.
And I think that's the dope thing about Caitlin too, because regardless of the scrutiny they put on her name, every time she's came out and spoken publicly, she said, "Hey, I'm good, but we need to push the league." And like you said, she did a lot of vocal stuff that helped a lot of black women in the process, man.
Angel Reese cares more about influencing than she does about basketball. Now, you can't necessarily say the same about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark understands that people are tuning into her, how she's going to transform what is happening in the WNBA, and the WNBA needs to embrace her more because she's going to get them women paid.
As the dust settles, one thing becomes crystal clear. Caitlin Clark's legacy is built on raw talent, hard work, and resilience, not on the fleeting drama or baseless narratives pushed by others. While some, like Joy Taylor, attempt to rewrite the story with bias and controversy, Clark's achievements speak louder than any words ever could.
When Serena Williams played against a male tennis player who was ranked like 200 something, and obviously Serena Williams is the greatest women's tennis player, and she lost 6-1, 6-1 to a guy who would never even be up there.
Stephen A. Smith's takedown of Taylor wasn't just a defense of Clark, it was a call for fairness and recognition of true excellence in sports.
Caitlin Clark has taken so much crap from so many types of players this season, pretty much from every team she's faced. Players realize that if they attack Caitlin Clark, their names are too going to be in the headlines.
Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a trailblazer whose influence on the WNBA is undeniable. And for those who try to diminish her success, the facts will always prove them wrong.
Problem is you have all of these players, Angel Reese, for example. You have Alyssa Thomas fueling the ideas of racial abuse by fans, but there's no real evidence of it. Brittany Griner speaking out against it. It's, the fans are calling us this, they're shouting these things. Did anybody hear any of these racial slurs happening or these racist actions by fans? The evidence wasn't there, so how are you going to talk about it if there's no evidence, right?
There is no race. And guess what? Those aren't fans. The people that are doing that, if they're doing that, they're just idiots. And if you're going to be popular, if you're going to be in the public eye, you're going to have a lot of idiots.
Thank you for joining us as we delved into this explosive topic. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. Drop a comment below. What are your thoughts on Joy Taylor's remarks and Stephen A. Smith's response? Let's get the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned, stay informed, and stay passionate. See you in the next video.